Hello everybody and welcome to day 320 of Rhys' stories. And today I'm not going to be reading you a full chapter in this book called Moany, McMoan-The Summer Holidays because it's a very long chapter. So I will be stopping in near the middle of the chapter because it's a very long chapter. So I hope you enjoyed this chapter in this book called Moany, McMoan-The Summer Holidays, written by Flannery and illustrations by Rhys and Ruairi Flannery. And the chapter is called Taxi. When we eventually managed to get Mark off the luggage thing, and when we finally stopped laughing, we got a taxi to our hotel. It's mental. All the taxis are yellow. How do people know which one is their taxi? I started losing count of how many there were driving around the place. When we got to our hotel, I could not believe what I was looking at. It was the tallest building I had ever seen, even taller than the famous tower thingy in Paris, and it's called the Eiffel Tower. I was getting a sore neck just looking up at it. That's it, that we were staying on the 37th floor. What? Said Mark. There is no way I'm going to walk up 37 different stairs, especially with these bags. Dad just told him to relax. We will be taking a lift to the room. But apparently in America they call them elevators, not lifts. They use loads of mad words here that I have never heard of before. We all piled into the lift with all the bags and cases. Millie got to push the button with number 37 on it. Not fair, I wanted to push it. My turn next time. Our room was huge, and it had the biggest TV I have ever seen. Kula boola. After we had unpacked, Mum suggested we go for a stroll to see some of the city. She said that San Francisco had loads and loads of hills. Dad reckoned that the most important thing he wanted to see right now was a restaurant because he was hungry again. So we all got into the elevator again. I pushed the button to go down and the button lit up. Mark thought it was cool the way the button lifted up. So he decided to push all the buttons at the same time. Dad tried to stop him, but he was too late. All of the lights went yellow. Then suddenly there was a big shudder. The elevator stopped very quickly. We waited for the doors to open so that we could get out. They did not open. Next thing, an alarm started to go off. No, said Dad. We are only here an hour and already Mark has managed to break something. At least it wasn't me this time. Do not push all the buttons at the same time. No, seriously. Don't do it. In case you did not read the message above, press this button. Dad spotted this button that said speaker on it. He pushed it and this lady with a funny voice started talking. What appears to be the problem, sir? She asked. Dad told her that his son had slipped and by accident had managed to hit all the buttons on the elevator at the same time. She said, Don't worry, sir, it happens all the time. We will have you all out of there as soon as possible. Dad just gave Mark a cross look. By the way, sir, she said, if you look up in the top corner of the elevator, you will see a camera. We can see the accident. It took half an hour before the elevator door opened a little bit. A fireman stuck his head in and looked around. We'll have you out of there very soon, he said. It took another 10 minutes before the elevator started working again. Mark was in the bad book still. That's 40 minutes. Dad had to explain to the hotel manager what had happened, and he even made Mark say sorry and promise he would never do it again. We all went to bed straight after dinner because Dad said he had a surprise for us planned for tomorrow. Next morning after breakfast we set off walking. It was really sunny, way hotter than Ban. Mark was complaining that he was so hot that he thought he was going to melt. Have you something to say, Mark? Asked Dad. Mark just shook his head. He didn't want to get into more trouble. We ended up in a place called Fisherman's Wharf. I looked everywhere. Couldn't see one single fish, never mind a fisherman. It was a cool place though. There were loads of people singing and playing guitars along the path. Magicians doing tricks, but the best of all was the path magician. No. Was a street performer. He was a legend. He was standing up on a big high table and he was doing somersaults and juggling, but the best of all was a trick he was doing on a board. He was standing up and balancing on a board, but the board was on the ball and it would not stop moving. He nearly fell off loads of times. Every time he almost fell off, the crowd would go, "Whoa!" But then he would manage to balance again, so the group would start clapping. Then he started pushing a cup in each corner of the board, and then he put another board on top of the cups. He was doing this while the board was still moving from side to side. I don't know how he managed it, but then he would climb up on the second board. He was really high up. Then he went higher again with 4 more cups and another board. I took a photo with my camera so you can see what I mean. The guy is a nut job. Every time that he nearly lost his balance, he would start laughing, and that made us laugh. Wouldn't be laughing if he fell and landed on his head. Then he looked for a volunteer. I pinched Mark, which made him put his arm up in the air. Mark just gave me a dirty look. The street performer asked Mark to pick up 3 juggling pins. I'm sure you know the ones. Then he said, "Right, I want you to throw the clubs up to me, one at a time." "Okay." Mark nodded. "Now can you throw the first one up gently, please?" So Mark threw the first one up. The performer caught it and everybody clapped. "Excellent," said the performer. "Now, when I say 3, I want you to throw up the next one. Got it? It will be 1, 2, 3, and throw." But as he said 3, Mark threw the pin and nearly knocked the performer off the boards. Luckily, the performer managed to catch the pin. "What are you doing, you lunatic? Are you trying to kill me?" He asked Mark. "I just did what you asked," said Mark. "You said 3, so I threw the pin to you." The street performer laughed, but it was one of those "oh dear" nervous laughs. "No, it's when I got 1, 2, 3 that you..." He didn't get to finish the sentence because guess what? Yep, Mark let fly again. With the third pin, the pin hit the performer on the head, went up in the air, and as it was coming down, back down, he stuck out a hand and caught the third pin. "You said 3 again," said Mark. Then the performer started juggling with the 3 pins. Still don't know how he managed to not to fall off the boards. The crowd went bananas. Everyone cheered and clapped. They must have thought it was all part of the act. Very obvious that none of them knew Mark then. People started throwing money into a hat that was on the ground in front of the street performer. A few of them missed. Mark picked up the hat and started putting the money on the ground into the hat. The crowd clapped again. Then Mark started walking around with the hat. It was full of money in minutes. Mark handed it to the performer. "That's the most money I have received in months," he said to Mark. He handed Mark $5. Mark handed it back to him. "No thanks, you deserve it." "Not me, and anyway, I nearly ruined the whole thing for you," said Mark. The guy whispered to Mark, "They don't know that. Shh. Our little secret," as he put the $5 back into Mark's hand. And look, there he is, and the cups and the boards, and he's juggling, and yeah. We went for lunch, which was scrumdiddly-dumptious. After lunch, Dad said he had a little announcement to make. "We are going on a little trip in a few minutes, but we won't be walking, we won't be driving, and we won't be flying." We all just looked at each other. "It's official. Our dad has gone totally doolally." Mark was scratching his head. I just shrugged my shoulders. Millie kept sucking her lollipop. She didn't care what we were doing as long as she had her lollipop. Dad just pointed to a large red and white boat. "Our transport awaits." "I'm going to get seasick," said Mark. "Me too," I said. "Me three," said Millie. We all went onto the boat and headed off towards this funny building that looked like it was sticking out of the water. Still no clue where we were going. After a few minutes, we landed at the funny building. There was a big sign saying, "Welcome to Alcatraz." When we got off the boat, a man wearing a strange uniform blew a whistle and called us all over to him. He spoke funny. "Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, you are about to become inmates in the most famous prison in the world, Alcatraz prison." Alcatraz prison. "What is a prison? Why were we going to prison?" I asked Dad. "Relax, people," the man said. "We are about to bring you on a tour of Alcatraz, one of the most famous prisons in the whole world. Don't worry, though, it is not a prison anymore, even though one or two of you might be at home here." Don't know why he looked towards Mark and me. The man was actually a tour guide. It was awesome, though. We got to see the cells that the inmates had to sleep in. They even let us go into one. Wouldn't want to stay there for too long, though. My bedroom is bigger than those cells, and they don't have Wi-Fi or a PlayStation. Can't be having that now, can we? I asked the guide if he would lock Mark in. He thought about it, especially when I offered him some of my jellies. Unfortunately, though, he said he wasn't allowed, and anyway, turns out my dad had offered him 2 bags of sweets to lock both myself and Mark in. The cheek of him! Like, seriously, what did I ever do to deserve that? Would have been a cool photo to have, though. We stayed there for a while before getting the boat home. We all headed to bed early because guess where we are going tomorrow? Have a guess. I'll go on. One little estimate. We are going to Universal Studios, the place where they make all the movies. I can't wait. I really can't wait. We are going to spend the whole day there. Did I tell you I can't wait? Get it? Next morning we had the quickest breakfast ever. I wasn't going to bother, but Mum did the finger pointy thing. "An empty sack won't stand," she said. Still, I have no clue what she is talking about half of the time. But I am so excited about going to Universal that I would eat cardboard if she asked me to. Well, not really, but you know what I mean. We got one of those yellow taxis to Universal. Different driver though. When we got there, Mum got one of those maps of the park. I wanted to go on all of the rides now, all at the same time. Dad decided that we had to make a plan. We had a vote to see which ride we would go to first. I wanted to go on the Mummy first, but Millie wanted the Simpsons. She won the vote. I just had to go. But secretly I didn't mind. Just had to look cool though. We went on the ride and it was amazing. Don't tell anyone I said that. Won't tell you what happened. It would spoil the surprise for when you go there. When we went on the Mummy ride, there was a little bit of screaming, and that was just Mark and Dad. I wasn't scared at all. Well, maybe a teensy-weensy bit. Harry Potter was epic. I really hope you all get there at some stage. The whole day was class. We won't mention Mark being a little unwell after one or two of the rides, and of course I didn't take any photos of that, or did I? We were there for the whole day and we did every ride a few times except Mark. His tummy was a little funny, or so he said. Do you believe him? No, neither do I. The last thing we went to was a stunt show where there were stuntmen showing us how they do some of the things we see in the movies. It was amazing. In one part, they looked for volunteers to go up and help with some of the stunts. Guess who they picked? Yep, that's right, Banban's very own crime-fighting superhero. They brought 4 of us onto the stage and said they would show us a different trick each. When it was my turn, they said they would show me how to do a fake shooting scene in a movie. They told me the trick they use, but made me promise not to tell anyone how it works. One of the men pretended to shoot me, and when he did, I was to turn and fall on the ground. What he forgot to tell me was that as I was falling, one of the other stuntmen was holding a big cream pie which he stuck in my face as I fell. Wasn't impressed. The whole audience started clapping and laughing. Mark definitely had a pain in his stomach, but this time it was from laughing at me. I had the last laugh though. The stuntmen brought out a big towel to clean my face. They also brought a big goodie bag full of t-shirts and other stuff for each of the 4 volunteers. One of the t-shirts had qualified Hollywood stuntmen written on the front. Cool, or what? We didn't get home until late and everyone just collapsed into the bed. I am amazed that the snoring didn't wake everyone in the hotel. The end. I hope you enjoyed not that full chapter because it's a very long chapter. So enjoy the rest of your day, and I guess I'll see you all tomorrow for day 321 of Rhys' stories. So, Flannery might be writing a new book soon. So once I have this one finished and once he has the other one published, then I will be able to get the other book. Or he might send it to me for free. I don't know. But so then I'll be able to read the other book to you. So I think he said he's going to do it in orange or yellow. So I hope you enjoyed not that full chapter in this book called Moany McMoan-The Summer Holidays, written by Ray Flannery and illustrations by Ray and Ruairi Flannery. So I guess I will see you all tomorrow for day 300 and say it for me, you should already know 21 of Rhys' stories. So bye everybody.